before he absorbs OG73 pre-planet absorption versus Dabura, who has the evil third eye. Who do you think would win in this matchup? 1v1 to the death. Who would come out on top? Let me know in the comment section below who you believe would win in this fight, and in today's video I'm going to give you guys the real answer. As always, make sure to subscribe if you're new here and hit that like button. It helps the channel immensely, guys. But I'm going to be doing the exact same thing I did in my previous video, where I'm going to go over each of the combatants' pros, cons, strengths, and weaknesses, and then give you guys a battle scenario and who I believe would win in today's lineup. We have Moro, who is millions of years old, has the ability of magic and life energy absorption, basically can drain ki regardless of who it's from, versus Dabura, the king of the demon realm, who has natural dark magic but has been heavily amplified by the evil third eye that we saw in Dragon Ball Daima, the third eye that constantly not only enhances the user's dark abilities, strength, but also instantly recovers them every time they take some damage. First and foremost, we have Moro, who has life energy drain. He can basically drain life or ki from planets and fighters that are just in his vicinity. So the longer that he is on the field, the stronger that he gets. And the longer that he fights, the weaker his opponent gets, to the point where even Goku and Vegeta, who were fighting him in Super Saiyan Blue, kept reverting back to base. He can use ancient sorcery like paralysis, telekinesis, create magic structures, as well as millions of years of battle experience and sorcery, so he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to fighting. As well as sensing ki from long distances meaning planets, as well as he can hide his ki from various fighters. He is relatively durable as well. Even when he was in his older stages, he was able to face off against Namekians and Galactic Patrol soldiers, so he has a sense of durability about him even in his old age. Now, his weaknesses may be his downfall here, because he does have low combat power, as his power is relatively, at least before he truly started absorbing planets and everybody, it's around that Saiyan Saga Namek level, as well as he struggled against fighting Namekians and Super Saiyans, so he really does not know how to fight. He is a sorcerer, a magician through and through. Not to mention that he is physically frail up until he becomes more strong and a lot younger looking. He is pretty weak in his early stages and is extremely over-reliant on absorption, and again, he's got a lot of overconfidence and arrogance. This is a guy that doesn't have a keen eye for combat, and therefore he really has to rely mainly on his sorcery. And even though he's got 10 million or plus years of experience with fighting lower level goons, lower level combatants, kais of that nature, he really isn't adept at all martial arts styles or anything like that. He is essentially relatively weak without absorbing anybody who knows how to fight. Now, Dabura on his own is an actual warrior. Comparable to his lineage, he is probably the best fighter out of all of them, just off the rip, but his mind is relatively weak. But let's go through his strengths and weaknesses here. So his biggest strength in this particular scenario is going to be the evil third eye that is on his forehead. The third eye immediately grants him an instant focus magical attack that can be beamed through it, that can go through any physical defense. Not to mention, his combat is really high up there. I mean, he can shoot magical shots from his stone spit in the blink of an eye, transforming his opponents into statues. This could be amplified by the third eye, giving him either more spit or a stronger type of petrification, because the third eye enhances all his abilities, his demonic ability, his ki ability, his speed, his strength, and the third eye also recovers him almost instantaneously from any damage, even life-threatening damage. As far as his weaknesses go, I would say that the third eye's weakness of getting hit in the back of the head several times and then it pops out, if Morrow knows that technique, he could easily figure out a way to knock the eye out of Dabora's forehead, and that would be the end of the fight essentially, because it would just revert Dabura back to around Super Saiyan, maybe possible Super Saiyan, early Super Saiyan 2 level. His body is still vulnerable and it's still the same durability as it was originally. His strength is what is amplified, but as we've seen in Dragon Ball Daima, his body, his durability is not, so he can still be knocked out and beaten, he just recovers instantaneously. Mentally, Dabura is susceptible to magic abilities and attacks. He was easily taken under the control of Babidi, who is not even Yajirobe level. And so this magic defect actually is a huge disadvantage to someone like Dabura facing off against a professional wizard who really only has his magic. And lastly, the strength that is amplified by the third eye, which, as we've seen in Dragon Ball Daima, brought Goma all the way to Super Saiyan 4 level. This strength is a endless well of absorption for someone like Moro. The longer Moro fights Dabura, the stronger Moro will become. Regardless of how often Dabura reverts back to his original state, if he's knocked out, his ki will still be absorbed by Moro the longer he's fighting him. So how would this fight go down? The way the fight will go down is that Dabura will attack Moro instantaneously. Dabura has done this many times before. We saw it against Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan. He will fight him and try to kill him with the sword. Moro is not a close range fighter at this moment. He will try to fall back and use barriers, but this will only delay the inevitable, because one slice with Dabura's now amplified sword, it will cut Moro in half. And if Dabura is within close range of Moro, he will attack him with the third eye beam, trying to blast him in his heart, trying to end the fight as fast as possible, killing him instantly. Now the fight could be over here, where the blast kills Moro instantaneously, hitting his heart, but Moro putting up those barriers and evading, as we've seen him do against Goku and Vegeta, and Dabura having the third eye but not being extremely accurate with it, there's a huge possibility that he will not hit Moro, but mainly maybe take off one of his arms, injure him gravely. That could be a scenario that would happen. The issue is, the longer the fight goes after this, the stronger, the more healed Moro will become, because he is draining the ki not only from the surrounding area, but also he's draining the ki from Dabura and his third eye amplification. And so at this point, Moro will try to distance himself and create maybe telekinetic blocks, locks, some sort of restraint against Dabura or around Dabura to keep him at bay, knowing that he needs to absorb as much ki as possible to gain more and more strength, so that way he's not just cut in half or blasted away like he was earlier. And at this point, whatever damage the third eye had done will have been healed by this absorption. Now these binds are only gonna hold Dabura back so long. Dabura is a very haste-like fighter. He is going to aggressively push Moro, and he will blast through the restraints with his demonic energy and power that is basically at this point being tripled, quadrupled with the third eye, and he will still try to hack and slash at Moro, spitting in his direction. I believe if he spits in his direction and anything lands on Moro, Moro may have the ability to stop the petrification with his magic, but that is a huge what if. Moro tries one last attempt to hold Dabura down and uses magic siphon around him, But at this point in time, Dabura is very close to him, and he uses a wave of hellfire to blast all around Morrow, and Morrow, being in close proximity to this, will have to break the spell and fall back. At this point, Morrow will try to go underground and pop up behind Dabura, directly trying to grab him to absorb Dabura fully, because he cannot last in this fight. Dabura, knowing Morrow's tactics on evading, will be ready for this attack and will cut Morrow through the chest. This won't initially instantly kill Morrow, but will pin him in one place as Dabura turns around and blasts his head off with the third evil eye, killing Morrow instantly. Unfortunately, in this fight, there's not enough damage that Morrow can do against an amplified third eye Dabura to weaken him to the extent that he can even think about knocking the eye out of his head. And I'll be honest, even without the third eye, I think it would be difficult for Morrow to defend against someone like Dabura, who is just so fast and just so aggressive against him, way more aggressive than Goku and Vegeta were on the new planet Namek. And Dabura has weapons and magic of his own that he can use to combat against Morrow. So this fight is over. The winner is Dabura with the third eye. So make sure you guys let me know who is next. You decide.